What are some of the biggest coincidences in history? Mongolia tried to invade Japan twice. Their army was destroyed by a typhoon both times. There's reason to believe, however, that the cunning Japanese delayed the Mongolians on land until typhoon season to create just such an advantage. Hitler not being assassinated. When the Reichstag blew up, he was 15 minutes late. Also, when a bomb blew up in the same room he was in, he somehow managed not to die. Franz Ferdinand's driver took a wrong turn and happened to drive by the restaurant that one of Franz's assassins was in. In the world of IP law, one should always remember Dennis the Menace before going full throttle into a lawsuit. On March 12, 1951, the comic character Dennis the Menace went on sale in the US and the UK. Both were young boys who caused trouble and left havoc in their wake. Both wore horizontal striped shirts. One artist clearly plagiarized the other. Right? Nope. It was a bizarre but clear case of total coincidence. Despite having the same name, generally similar aura of mayhem, and debuting on the same day, neither artist knew about the other. Neither artist had any way of knowing about the other, via similar connections, meetings, etc., and both could prove how they independently came up with and developed the character. There were other differences, too, such as that the UK version intentionally caused chaos while the US version was mostly well-intentioned and the chaos caused was accidental. Hair color, black versus blonde, and, besides shirts, dress, shorts versus overalls. The Dennis the Menace character was just a case of total coincidence by two comic artists. The Lincoln-Kennedy coincidences. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on the same day. Not only that, but it was also July 4th. Apparently they hated each other and Adams' last words were, "Thomas Jefferson still survives." But it turns out Jefferson had died a few hours earlier that day. And it was the 50th Independence Day. If I'm not mistaken, Jefferson and Adams were actually really good friends until their differing political views caused them to hate each other until they rekindled their friendships shortly before their deaths. The Beer Hall Putsch, Kristallnacht and the fall of the Berlin Wall happened on the same day. November 9, 1923, 1938, and 1989 respectively. The Germans call it the *Schicksalstag, Day of Fate. 9/11, in the European dating system. Violet Jessop was a nurse who is known for surviving the disastrous sinkings of RMS Titanic in 1912 and her sister ship, HMHS Britannic, in 1916. In addition, she had been on board RMS Olympic, the eldest of the three sister ships, when it collided with a British warship, HMS Hawke, in 1911. The second time should have been the last time she went on a ship. Once a tomb of a dead Mongol ruler. The tomb writing is, "He who opens this tomb shall meet an enemy worse than I," and when the Soviets opened it, Hitler came and invaded Russia. The leader was Tamerlane, founder of the Turco-Mongol Timurid dynasty. He conducted raids all the way from Syria to New Delhi, killed millions. One of the more dubious, but incredibly cool, rumors surrounding him was that, at one point, he promised a group of around 400 Christian warriors that they wouldn't bleed a drop of blood if they surrendered peacefully. They didn't. He had them all buried alive. The female reporter investigating the death of Marilyn Monroe, and having pursued leads of the relationship between JFK and Monroe, died under the same circumstances and the same drug that him died from Monsieur. The weather coming to the defense of England during one of the multiple times the Spanish Armada tried to invade. Horrible Histories did a brilliant skit on it. The small town of Codell, Kansas, was hit by a tornado on the same date, May 20th. 3 consecutive years, 1916, 1917, and 1918. 51. 52. The United States has about 100,000 thunderstorms per year. Less than 1% produce a tornado. The odds of this coincidence occurring again are extremely small. Wikipedia. Tornado records. Lincoln signed the Secret Service into existence on the same day he was assassinated. Kim Il-sung being born the same day the Titanic sank. Every 100 years or so there's a pandemic. Every 100 years. By definition, we've had multiple in the 21st century alone. SARS, swine flu, H1N1, MERS, Zika, and Ebola. There's also avian flu, but that didn't reach pandemic level. That any of us are here. From the beginning our ancestors survived plagues, famines and wars to get your DNA to your moment of conception. Millions and millions of people died without passing their genetic material forward. Congrats. You are a genetic survivor. I feel good now. Thank you. Hitler killed Hitler. Why is Germany bluffing its army? Germany's plan in both world wars. Trump 2016. Okay, but people keep forgetting the fact that Convo de Mayo was on Taco Tuesday this year. Ah, yes. Convo de Mayo, the famous Mexican holiday, also known as the Conversations of May in the U.S., which memorializes all the talking, pleasantries, and oratory that took place immediately following the Battle of Puebla. Every single murder case blamed on gaming. Abraham Lincoln and Jefferson Davis lived only 100 miles from each other, and they are probably related in some way, which is backed up by them having almost identical facial features. Ohio car gang. The parallels between Abe Lincoln and JFK. Caffeine in the coffee and tea plants. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson both died on July 4, 1826. Exactly 50 years after the U.S. was founded. Adams' last words were, "Thomas Jefferson still lives," unaware Jefferson had died a few hours earlier. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Members of the Black Hand carefully planned to assassinate High Monsieur, however. When the day arrived, the first two assassins lost their nerve and the one bomb that was thrown bounced off the car, wounding some soldiers but missing their intended targets, Franz Ferdinand and his wife. After the first assassination attempt failed, the assassins gave up and went to a cafe. The Archduke and his wife continued with their appointments, then decided to visit the soldiers wounded in the attack. They got lost on the way to the hospital and realized they were lost and stopped right in front of the cafe where the assassins were. They then tried to reverse down the street but were too late and got shot. The American Revolution. Thomas Jefferson and John Adams both died on the same day and were the second and third presidents. Earth's moon is 400 times smaller, but 400 times closer than the sun. They just happen to appear the same size in the sky. This has had an effect on mythology, literature, symbology, and so forth about night per day since humans could think, and also makes total solar eclipses work. And it's a complete coincidence. Christopher Columbus ruining it for a different group of people than originally intended. In 2003, the Serbian Prime Minister was assassinated by a Serbian assassin as he was on his way to meet with a Swedish diplomat in the Serbian capital. A few months later, that same diplomat was assassinated in Sweden by a Serbian assassin in an unrelated incident. Kennedy and Lincoln's coincidences. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.